Silas. Mom? Please. It's me. I've lost everything. The friends, the money, even the house. I don't know what to do. Me. You had $53 million, Silas. And still, you kicked me out of my own home. Do you realize how deeply you hurt me? Silas. I know, Mom. I was blind. Arrogant. Please. I need your help. I need you. Me. Come home, Silas. Just come home. Narrator. That call changed everything. But to understand how we got here, let me take you back to where it all began. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Women Revenge. To my beloved subscribers, thank you. Every like, every comment, every share. You keep these stories alive. And before we begin, let me say a quick prayer for you. May peace fill your home. May joy find you in unexpected places. May strength rise in you when life tries to break you. May you never feel alone. And may love remind you every day of your worth. Amen. Now, let me tell you my story. My name is Ruth. For most of my life, survival wasn't guaranteed, it was fought for. I raised my son Silas on my own. His father left when Silas was barely 2, leaving me with bills stacked on the counter and a baby boy clinging to my hip. I worked 2 jobs, mornings at a diner, evenings cleaning offices. My hands were always tired, my back always aching. But every time I looked at Silas, I found another ounce of strength. He was my reason, my heartbeat, my pride. I still remember the nights he'd sit at the diner counter, coloring on napkins while I served customers. He'd look up with those wide, trusting eyes and say, "Mom, one day, I'll take care of you. You won't have to work so hard." In the never pays his Tominery. And I'd smile, kiss his forehead, and whisper back, "As long as we have each other, I'll be just fine." The years rolled on. We didn't have much, but I made sure Silas never felt poor. I patched his jeans, found toys at yard sales, cooked big pots of stew that could last us days. There were nights I went to bed hungry, so he could eat more. There were winters when the heat barely worked, but I wrapped him in extra blankets and told him it was an adventure. Through it all, Silas grew, bright, determined, restless. He was always dreaming of more, always looking at the big houses in town, the shiny cars passing by. "Someday, Mom," he'd say. "Someday we'll have all of that." And I would gently remind him, "Things are nice, Silas, but they don't last. What matters is family, love, respect." He'd nod, but I could see it in his eyes. Money meant more to him than I wanted to admit. I will never forget that morning. Silas burst through the door of our little house, waving a lottery ticket, his face red with disbelief. "Mom, you're not going to believe this. We won. We won. $53 million. At first I thought he was joking, but when he shoved the paper into my hands, my knees nearly gave out. We cried. We laughed. We clung to each other. In that moment, I thought all our struggles were over. "See, Mom?" he said through tears. "I told you one day I'd take care of you. You'll never work another day in your life." And I believed him. God help me. I believed every word. The first few days were magical. He bought me new clothes, a new phone, even talked about buying us a bigger home. But slowly, his tone changed. He looked at my old furniture with disdain. He smirked at my modest cooking. And one evening, as we sat in our living room, he shook his head. "This place is an embarrassment, Mom. I can't have my new friends seeing where you live." I frowned. "Silas, this is our home. The walls may be cracked, but it's filled with memories." He scoffed. "Memories don't impress anyone. Money does. Status does." The words stung more than he realized. 1 week later, he came with a decision. "Mom," he said coldly, "I've arranged for you to move into Brookside Retirement Community. It'll be better for you. Modern. Clean. Everything you need." I stared at him. "Silas, I'm not old. I don't need a retirement home. I need my son." He avoided my eyes. "This is for the best. Trust me." "No, Silas, this is for your best. So you don't feel embarrassed by me." He didn't deny it. That night, I packed my bags with trembling hands. I walked out of my own house, the house I had built with sacrifice, because my son decided I no longer belonged there. What would you have done if your own child treated you this way? Would you forgive them? Or would you walk away forever? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Brookside Retirement Community was clean, yes. Modern, yes, but sterile. Soulless. I moved into a small, white-walled room that smelled faintly of bleach. Everywhere I looked, I saw mothers and fathers being visited by their children. Sons bringing flowers. Daughters bringing hugs. Grandchildren filling the halls with laughter. And me? I sat alone, day after day, week after week. I'd check my phone, hoping for a call, a message. Nothing. Instead, I'd see photos online of Silas yachts, champagne, parties in cities I'd never stepped foot in. I had lost him, not to death, but to money. Sometimes, Mrs. Patterson, a kind woman down the hall, would stop by. "Your boy doesn't visit much, does he?" she'd ask. I forced a smile. "He's busy. New life. New responsibilities." She nodded knowingly. Money changes people, but it can't change a mother's love, can it? Her words pierced me, because they were true. No matter how badly he hurt me, my love for Silas didn't vanish. It only ached. If you believe no parent should ever be abandoned, hit that like button right now, so more people will hear this story. A year passed in quiet loneliness. I watched the seasons change through the small window by my bed. I watched other residents laugh with their families, while my own son was too busy chasing status. I grew older in silence. And with every day that passed, I wondered if I'd ever see the boy I once knew again. Until one night, the phone rang. I picked it up, and on the other end was a voice I barely recognized. Broken, shaken, desperate. "Mom," and that's where everything began to change. The phone trembled in my hand as I heard his voice. It wasn't the confident, arrogant tone I had grown used to. It was my boy again, my Silas. "Silas. Mom, please, it's me. I've lost everything. The friends, the money, even the house. I don't know what to do. I don't even know who I am anymore." Me. $53 million, Silas. You had everything. And yet you pushed me away. You put me here. Do you realize how deeply you hurt me? Silas, I know. I was blind. I thought money would make me someone, but it made me a fool. Mom, I need your help. Not your money. Just you. I closed my eyes. 1,000 memories rushed through me. His little hand in mine. His childhood promises. The look on his face the day he won the lottery. And then, the night he forced me into this place. My heart ached, but it also whispered, "This is still your son." Me, come home, Silas. Just come home. The next morning, Silas arrived at Brookside with only one battered suitcase. Gone were the designer suits. Gone were the expensive watches. Gone was the smug grin. He looked thinner, older, his eyes hollowed out by regret. When he saw me, his lips trembled. He set the suitcase down and whispered, "Mom!" I couldn't hold back. I wrapped my arms around him, and for the first time in years, I felt my son again. We both cried, not for the lost money, but for the lost time. Over tea that evening, he told me everything. Bad investments, shady friends who drained him, parties that cost more than most people earn in a year. And when the money ran out, the so-called friends vanished. He was left alone. Abandoned, just like he had abandoned me. Silas, I thought I was invincible, that I didn't need anyone. But when it all crashed, the only person I could think of was you. I reached across the table and squeezed his hand. Me, wealth can vanish overnight, Silas. But family, love, that's real wealth. And you nearly lost it all. He nodded, tears falling freely. Silas, I don't deserve your forgiveness. Me. Forgiveness isn't about deserving. It's about love. We couldn't go back to the mansion, or the luxury cars, or the vacations. All of that was gone. Instead, we found a small 2-bedroom apartment above a bakery in town. The walls were thin. The floors creaked, but it was ours. Silas insisted on paying the rent with what little savings he had left. I have to do this right, Mom. No shortcuts, no pride, just hard work. And so, we began again. Mornings smelled like fresh bread from below. Evenings were filled with laughter as we cooked together in our tiny kitchen. Some nights, we sat on the fire escape, watching the town lights flicker, talking about everything and nothing. Slowly, the boy I raised came back to me. Silas refused to let his mistakes define him. He studied day and night, pored over finance books, met with advisors who taught him what he wished he had known before. Then, one morning, over coffee, he looked at me with a determination I hadn't seen in years. "Silas, Mom, I want to help people. I want to make sure no one else throws away their fortune the way I did." That's how Silas began his new path, as a financial counselor. At first, no one believed in him. "The broke lottery winner," they scoffed. But Silas pushed forward. He shared his story openly, admitted his mistakes, taught others how to avoid the traps of greed. Slowly, people began to listen, and then they began to trust. I watched him transform, not into the arrogant man money had created, but into the wise, humble son I had always prayed for. One night, as we washed dishes side by side, Silas broke the silence. "Silas, Mom, do you really forgive me for everything?" I set down the plate and looked at him. His eyes searched mine, desperate for reassurance. "Me, Silas, forgiveness doesn't erase the pain, but it heals the wound. And yes, I forgive you. Fully. Completely." He pulled me into a hug. His shoulders shook with quiet sobs. "Silas, thank you for not giving up on me, for still being here." I whispered into his ear, "I never stopped being here, Silas. Not once. We never regained the millions, but we gained something far greater." Our little home was filled with laughter again, with honest conversations, with love no amount of money could ever buy. I no longer sat in sterile silence. I sat across from my son, hearing his voice, seeing his smile, knowing he was truly present. And Silas, he found peace in guiding others, not flaunting wealth. His name became known in our town, not as the man who squandered millions, but as the man who rebuilt from nothing. Looking back now, I realize something profound. True wealth cannot be measured in bank statements. It cannot be bought in mansions or yachts or champagne. True wealth is the bond between a mother and her child. It is forgiveness when the world says you shouldn't forgive. It is the courage to rebuild when everything has been broken. If this story touched your heart, hit like, share it with someone who needs this reminder. And don't forget to subscribe to Women Revenge for more stories that prove love is stronger than betrayal. And tell me in the comments, if you were in my shoes, would you have forgiven Silas, or would you have let him face his mistakes alone? Before I end this story, let me pray for you. May you never be abandoned by the ones you love. May forgiveness find its way into your heart, and may healing follow every wound. May your days be richer in love than any fortune could ever buy. Amen.